You mentioned already with going back to the Great Property Meet that it's unlike some meetings where there's a different objective for the organisers. Your meeting is very much about you've created this community of local experienced investors, maybe some small scale developers, experienced landlords in the local area.
And we help each other with problems. I mean, an example we were talking about with recently was a HMO landlord who had his properties rebanded by the VOA.
Yes.
Now,
that's
it's
the valuation office
agency.
Just people that are not clear about the terminology. There's a lot of acronyms in this.
Totally.
So the VOA. Valuations.
And in a nutshell, he didn't agree with it and appealed. Now, Tony's case is quite unique, and I'm about to share an interview I've done with Tony, and we were speaking about putting an article out on this topic.
Yes, indeed, yes.
So he'd actually gone the opposite way to what most investors do. He bought the HMO in 2016. Each of the rooms had its own electric supply and meter. It had electric heating in there, controlled within the room, own kitchenettes, etc. Now, he bought it and he went, number one, there's an office downstairs that used to be a shop. So I'm going to convert that under permitted development and convert this 6-bed HMO to a 9-bed sui generis.
Okay.
Got appropriate planning permissions, got building control involved. It was identified that the electric meters and the heating systems in the room was a potential fire risk. So they went around and removed that, put a central heating system in the whole building, removed the kitchenettes, and put communal facilities in. So there was communal bathrooms and communal kitchens.
So what you would expect in a typical
HMO.
So communal kitchen, maybe a communal lounge, not necessarily in this case, but So shared facilities.
Shared facilities. So he was actually taking out dedicated facilities and putting shared facilities. The VOA, through their radar system, monitoring planning and building control databases, picked up on this and paid him a visit. Advised him that they'd be reviewing it and write to him, and in writing to him, they rebanded. Tony challenged this.
Rebanded in terms of the council tax.
In terms of the council tax.
And they banded it as Band A.
Band A per room from a Band C for the whole building.
Right.
So taking it from £1,560 council tax per annum to £12,500 per annum, which dents your profit and loss.
That's a big hit. I mean, a lot of portfolio landlords are being hit with this, aren't they? Currently, certain councils are becoming, in certain local authority areas, the VOA seem to be targeting specifically, and it is a growing problem, as I'm sure some of the viewers of this video will recognise. So, without wanting to intrude too much on what is going to be a longer video that you're going to be doing, so the VOA then banded this, which meant obviously that it was £12,000 a year as opposed to
opposed to £1,500, it was £12,500 to £11,000 increase.
So I must assume that the landlord then challenged that decision.
It was challenged. It went backwards and forwards informally between the VOA and their appeals process. The landlord did not agree with the outcome, as you can understand. And appealed to the first tier land tribunal, where the facts of the matter were presented before them, along with various pieces of information from the General Rates Act 1967, specifically Section 6, and other relevant information.
This is what you have to get involved in sometimes.
Absolutely.
It's not all about taking the rent and going off to the Caribbean every few months. Carry on, as we all know.
And the first tier tribunal, Tony had a number of challenges on the ruling, and the first tier tribunal basically found in Tony's favour because the VOA, as part of the consultation and appeal process internally with the VOA, had made some recommendations which Tony had followed.
Right.
And they had not come out and re-inspected the property, even though Tony had provided photographic evidence that he'd complied with. And an interesting part of the Valuation Office and the Rents Act and various other Act is the VOA have discretion
Right.
over
Yes.
what they decide.
Mhm.
Now that's quite an interesting one because they control all pieces of the jigsaw and they can use their discretion, which is why you sometimes need to go to a court to challenge and set a precedent, because they turned up to court with Tony with 6 pieces of case law they intended to rely upon. As it happens, the key plank of the tests that Tony wanted to bring and challenge, based upon the 1967 General Rates Act, he only got the chance to test one thing, which wasn't even as part of the Act.
Right.
And it was the fact that he'd complied with a request of theirs to completely remove water supply from the room. Because if you don't have water supply to a room, it's not a dwelling.
Indeed. So I've heard on a number of occasions the provision of a wash basin being a key determinant factor for it going under Band A.
Yes.
Obviously, if you've got a wash basin, you've got a water supply. And
So that was... Tony never got the chance to test the other ones about transient period of occupation.
Okay. So the outcome was?
The outcome was the VOA were told to go and pay his costs. Were told to revalue the property in line with what the guidance is set out in the Act, which basically implies that because he has 2 kitchens and 3 bathrooms in the property, it's a maximum of 3 bands, possibly 2, or possibly even back to 1 band for the whole property. That process is currently underway, and I will update as I know more.
Yes.
But it shows you can appeal and win.
There we are. Well, hope viewers of this video have found that interesting. So in an upcoming edition of Property Investor News, Andrew is going to be articulating in greater detail more about the circumstances and some of the legal details around this. So look forward to that. And Andrew, thank you very much. So
thank you, Richard. Andrew
Roberts, the Great Property Meet in Rugby. Get along if you're in the West Midlands area. Is it West? It's more than the East Midlands, isn't it?
It's on the border of West and East Midlands.
Yeah, sort of the North Midlands, maybe.
Third Monday of every month.
Indeed.
And you'll join a lot of like-minded landlords. And the feedback I get is it has a real community feel, and people, there's no cliquey groups in the room. Everybody is there to support each other.
What's the URL? What's the website?
www.greatpropertymeet.co.uk.
There we are. Andrew, thanks.